Welcome to the Wisdom Lifestyle Money Show. I'm your host, Scott Dillingham. The goal of the show is to show you how you can grow personally, financially, have a larger net worth, and leverage your largest asset to help you develop the person you want to be. I take you through all the steps I did from being nothing to being told that I was nobody and I was never going to accomplish anything, from getting kicked out of high school to owning a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio in my own company with more than 20 employees. You'll meet our partners, you'll meet our friends, and you'll quickly discover how you can improve your life. So listen in and enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Wisdom Lifestyle Money Show. I'm your host, Scott Dillingham, and today I have a very special guest, Kimberly Kinsley. I've known you for a couple of years, and during your career, you're the author of 4 books, you're the co-founder of the Flow Lab, and you even have your own podcast. And you work with a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs and just people in general to help increase their focus and to get so much extra work done in such little time. So welcome, Kimberly.
Thank you, Scott. It's great to be here. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Yeah, no worries. I'm excited to hear about the Flow Lab. But before we get into the Flow Lab, can you tell me how you got to where you are today? Like, how does somebody accomplish all of these things?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So, I had a little bit of a rocky start. I was very anxious in my 20s, and we weren't really talking about anxiety then the way we talk about it now. And so I didn't really know what it was. I just knew that my world was becoming increasingly small on the inside. And I just felt like I had to get out. And I had graduated college. I was working as an inside sales rep at a plastics manufacturing firm. And I ended up moving from Arizona to Chicago, where I had a bit of I like to call it a radical realignment. Some would call it an awakening. I had a major paradigm shift on life. And I realized that we are designed to flow, first
Yeah.
of all, and that we are designed to flow from the inside out. And up until that point, I had been chasing life and I had been, looking for, are you my mother? Are you my mother? That child, that children's book, and just looking for my purpose. And once I realized that, just that single awareness, I was like, okay, we're not taught this. We're taught the opposite. And so I was only there for a year, but it was a life-changing year. And I attribute that to Lake Michigan.
Okay, nice. Yeah, real close to me. Yeah.
Yeah, the Great Lakes are my heart there. And so I just made a commitment at that time that I was going to teach these principles that I had learned for the rest of my life. Excuse me. And so I did that. I came back to Arizona. I got a master's in counseling. I'm a licensed professional counselor.
Okay.
That's what I've done for most of my career. And in 2020, ironically, I started a business helping leaders and their teams cultivate energy wellness,
Okay.
which is an antidote to chronic stress.
Yeah.
So it's really inner flow. So our theme and what we're focused on is connecting the dots between wellness and performance.
Okay.
So performance, if I could keep talking, do you have any
Yeah, yeah,
questions?
absolutely.
Performance is one end of the flow channel. It's only one end, but in order to get there and have sustainable performance, we need to have sustainable energy.
Yes.
So we work on this front end where we take people through a 4-step process to align with their flow nature.
Yeah.
And when we're aligned, then we have this natural resilience. We have the agility to be able to face changes in our environment and our workplaces, which we really need these days.
Yeah.
And we have the connection we need to keep our nervous system regulated and to connect with other people. And we have the energy for sustainable performance. So that's where my passion lies and has for nearly 30 years, not to give away my age, but
Fair enough. No, that's awesome. No, I know you and I know what flow is. And that
Yeah.
is how we met was you were facilitating classes for another company and was teaching you how to perform at your peak. But for those that are hearing this and they've not heard of flow in the way that we're describing it here, would or talking about it, would you be able to describe that for everybody?
Yes, I would. So there's two flow sciences that are actually really equally compelling. And the one that most people are familiar with is the psychology of peak performance and the neuroscience of peak performance. So there are a set of conditions that help us get into the zone. And the zone is where we feel our best and we do our best, and it's our happy place. So
Yeah.
everyone loves delicious time in the zone. But then there's also the physics of flow, which physics in ancient Greece means nature. So we're talking about flow systems in nature of which we are a part. So if you think of rivers, trees, and human beings, we're all flow systems.
Hmm.
And of course, we're built on layers and layers of physical flow systems like blood flow, oxygen flow, digestive flow, but we also have energy flow.
Yeah.
And so at the Flow Lab, we merge these two flow sciences so that the process and the how is the physics of flow, the inner movement of energy to the point that it creates wellness. Excuse me, Scott, I have allergies. To the point that it creates wellness
Yeah.
and it also fuels our sustainable performance.
Okay.
So, if we can create this sustainable inner flow through developing presence, developing emotional agility, actually processing our day, processing our emotions, and some of the other things that we do, then we can show up to the world in a state of flow. And you and I both know that there's micro states and macro states.
Yeah.
We could be in a micro flow here where we've got this nice exchange going. And then you and I could both get off this call and we could start working and get into a macro state where we're really just focusing all our energy and attention on the task at hand. But there's a lot of stuff that goes into it for us to get there. And so
Yeah.
that's where we're focused.
No, that's awesome. I love it. And I'll share this and then I want to dive more into the Flow Lab and how you help people. But one of the things that I learned that I think is so valuable about getting into flow is the rest and recovery cycle.
Yeah.
Because every hard worker I know wants to go and they sacrifice rest, they sacrifice sleep, breaks, right? It's what is a break? But what I discovered was by taking those breaks, what I do for my lunch, I'll eat. And then the second part of my lunch is I actually go for a half an hour walk outside, rain, shine, snow, doesn't matter what it is. And I go. And at first, when I started it, I was like, how is this going to help me? I'm wasting half an hour of my time when I could be doing phone calls or emails or whatever. But what I discovered was it resets you by taking the rest and having that recovery so that when I actually do get back to work, I'm actually more productive.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Probably multiple times more productive.
Yeah, absolutely. Because otherwise you're getting burnt out. So you're still working, but you're working slowly. And the
Mhm.
rest and recovery helps you so you don't get that. So that's what I found was incredibly useful for myself.
Mm.
But what do you guys do for the Flow Lab? So I know you work for individuals and you do stuff for companies. What does that look like?
Oh yeah, we take leaders and their teams. We like leaders to be involved because we need safety. We need environmental safety in order to flow. And so it really helps if everyone is on the same page. And you know this as a business leader. And I know that you create environments where people feel like they can flow and they can be themselves and they can be top productivity and creativity and probably have some fun. So we take people through a 4-step process that brings them back into inside out flow. And here's the challenge. the challenge is that we've been through so many stressful events that most of us are stuck. Most people are actually stuck in a little bit of fight or flight, a little bit of chronic stress,
Yeah.
and even carrying some stress backlog, like in their nervous system, some unprocessed stress, even trauma. And so when we reverse, because a lot of us are in like a kind of a reverse flow where we're like, okay, get up, get our coffee, run out the door. Let's start the adrenaline pumping. Let's get some cortisol in there because that's our energy source. We know what that is. It's a recipe for burnout. So we take that and we actually contrast the two different paths that each of us can take. One is the stress path and one is the flow path,
Hmm.
and just go through this process. And I thought maybe I could share 3 tangible tips for
Do
you.
it.
So a lot of people don't know this, but when we overthink, when we're in our heads, we're telling the nervous system that it's not safe to discharge stress. And so one of the things that I bet happens when you go on that half-hour walk is that you get out of your head. Is that true?
Probably, yeah. Like yeah. I sometimes there's this app. I don't want to make the show about this app, but there's this breathwork app,
Mhm.
and it actually has one for walking.
Oh,
So
nice.
when you do that, it just like you don't think about anything except for breathing.
Yeah. That's
So
that's beautiful.
yeah,
Exactly. So my first tip is, like you, Scott, find time every day to get out of your head. Give your nervous system a chance to discharge stress, because even if we don't know we're stressed, if
yeah,
we go, we're accumulating these experiences that we actually need to digest. And that's a whole nother conversation that I won't get into, like energy metabolism. But we have to start thinking of it that it goes from the inside out. It's the opposite of food. We're bringing it in, but then we've got to actually, it's got to go through a process before we get to the point where we show up to the world as our best, brightest, most energized, focused self.
yeah.
And so, along with that, this, I would recommend that people take integration breaks. So, like when we get off this call, you and I will both probably do this because you have a lot of experience with flow. When we get off this call, you and I will probably take a few breaths, process it, think about it, and let it like digest before we move on to the next task. If people could do that thing alone, just take a minute in between tasks to digest what you just experienced so it doesn't accumulate.
Yeah. I will admit that is something that I learned,
Uh-huh.
but it's something that you have to make a habit, and that is an area of improvement I have to do for myself. I will
Okay.
say that, yeah, because we are pulled in many directions, right? The client will call, and then I've got to speak to the client's lawyer and the realtor, and so we're
Yeah.
always all over the place. But
Yeah.
I agree, taking that little reset when I've done it has
Mhm.
really helped for sure.
Yeah. Nice. So the last tip that I'll leave your listeners with is to practice selective attention.
Okay.
And here's why. What we connect with, we need to digest. So if we get on to a negative rant by someone on YouTube, for example,
Yep.
or even a conversation with a coworker that's it's going a little bit south, we then carry that energy, that emotional energy, which we know emotion is energy in motion. It's energy and information moving through the nervous system. So, if we could be a little more selective with what we connect with, we would have less stress to process in the
Yeah.
end.
I
So,
love it. I love
yeah.
it. Thanks for sharing those. Those are all great tips.
Yeah.
And
Thank
that's
you.
probably just the icing on the cake for what you guys offer at the Flow Lab.
Yes, yes, it is.
So that's awesome. That's awesome. Cool. So I know our time is limited because we keep these short on purpose.
Mhm,
But I'd like to hear, because you're also an author
mhm.
and you have your own podcast. So I'd like to hear about that. and then we'll touch on how people reach out to you if they're
Mhm.
interested in your services. Let's talk about your book. So, what did you write about?
Oh, energy.
Okay.
Probably my most popular book is called The Energy Cure, Recharging Your Life 30 Seconds at a Time. But all four of them have a little bit of a different flavor, and they can be found on my website, which is kimberlykingsley.com. And there's also a link to the Flow Lab on there, which is theflowlab.co. And my podcast, for those who are interested, is High Vibrational Life, and it's
Okay.
available wherever podcasts are.
Nice. That's awesome. You said it like a true spokesperson for the podcast. I love it. Cool, cool. So
Yeah.
somebody who, let's do this then. So say they've heard this, they're interested, and maybe they want to start off with the book because they want to
Yeah.
get a little more knowledge on this topic before they dive in and tap into your services. What book would you say would be the best primer for somebody that wants to get into this? Would that be the one you just mentioned, or would it be a different one?
Yes, I would say The Energy Cure because it's written in a way to be really digestible. And it talks
Okay.
about how to manage our energy and optimize our energy on every level of self, physical, emotional, mental, relational. So, yes, The Energy Cure. And there's two books by that name. Mine was first. So make sure
Okay.
it's Kimberly Kingsley.
That's awesome. So when you're saying energy, just so I'm clear and everybody who's listening is clear, you're not just talking like I can walk around and do chores in my house. You're talking being happy, right? Versus
Yes.
angry and just all of that, not just physical energy.
Absolutely. I'm talking about emotional energy. I'm talking about, yes, that's a whole topic, but yes, we're talking about the energy that moves through us and powers our lives, and it has to go through every level of self. So emotion is
Yeah.
part of it. When we get our emotions right, then we have more physical energy. So it's all connected.
Yeah, and I like that you said you get more physical energy because you do.
Yeah.
If I'm somewhere and I'm really tired, let's say, going for a walk seems like the last thing you want to do, or working out or doing breath work, right? Like you don't want to do those things because you're tired. But if
Mhm.
you do them for even just 5 minutes, then you
Mhm.
have so much energy and it's
Yeah.
like you've just completely recharged.
Yeah, that's
So it's
right.
really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. No, that's awesome. So I love it. So I know you mentioned kimberlykinsley.com for your
Mhm.
website.
Mhm.
So if somebody wants to reach out to you, that would be the source.
Yeah,
for the-
so, my last name is King, KimberlyKingsley.com.
Okay. That's awesome. Do you have any final thoughts or things you'd like to say before we go?
I would just like to encourage people to cultivate energy awareness. Start becoming aware of how you feel within your body, within and around you, and go from there. Follow the breadcrumbs, follow the good vibes.
It's awesome. Thanks so much, Kimberly. I'm so glad you were able to come, and thanks for sharing your wisdom. And I got to say, guys, I've worked with Kimberly in the past before the Flow Lab, and she's really good at what she does.
Thank you so much, Scott. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thanks, Kimberly.
Thank you.
Awesome. What'd you think?
Oh, that was fun. It's always easy to talk to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm glad you liked it, and yeah, we should be able to push it out. If not this week, for sure next week.
Okay, great. And I'll definitely post it. What format will it be in?
It's on just like you. We're on Spotify, Apple, all of those.
Okay, so I can just post a link.
Yep.
And
Yep,
so
absolutely.
no video?
I can do video too because we recorded it. So video would go to YouTube if we do that.
Let's do it.
Okay. Okay. So it's no problem. We'll send it to YouTube. So we got that. Yeah. But
Nice.
I hope it helps. I hope you get lots of clients. We've had over 100,000 downloads. So it's like pretty
Nice.
decently listened to. Um,
Nice.
and we actually stopped for a while doing them just because the business was growing in different areas. But the past maybe 2 or 3 months, we really hammered back down on it. The audience had a dip and then we started producing again and it's way back up again. So it's a perfect time.
Congratulations.
Thank
Wow.
you. Thank you. Yeah. So it's exciting. So I hope you get lots of business. And I'm going to look into what you do. Actually, like this part's not going to be aired, but how does it work for pricing for teams and stuff?
So, informally speaking, we do try to work within budgets, but
Okay.
our generally we're about $5,000 to $8,000 a day for a team. So, like for your team, maybe if it was virtual, I might recommend like 2 online sessions, 2 or even 4 if
Okay.
we did it 90 minutes, like 4 90-minute sessions, and I would work with you on the price, but
Okay. So when you do the 5 to 8,000 a day, is that like a
yeah.
whole workshop, like a daily workshop?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
A flow
Okay.
lab.
Yeah, so that's reasonable. And then so what you're suggesting though is more of check-ins then if we did 90-minute ones?
If I came to the Great Lakes area, then we would just do a day.
Okay.
But if you didn't wanna do that, I think a day online is a lot, so we just break
Yeah.
it up.
Okay. Okay, so roughly same price, but then you're
Yeah,
doing the
probably 4 sessions or 2 3-hour sessions.
okay. Cool. No, I like it. Let me chat with my team. I love it though, and we'll see what we can do. I think it's good. We implemented the work 9 to 5. Sorry. 9 to 5 is what they get paid, but they technically only work 9 to 4, right? So we give them that extra hour to go home or whatever early. So we're doing that, but I do push the rest and recovery and they don't do the rest and recovery part. It's something they're slacking on.
This would fortify that.
Yeah.
It would fortify the need. That is so great that you did that for them.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, they enjoy it. So
No one's leaving your company anytime soon.
yeah, no, for sure. For sure. And no, that's awesome. So I appreciate that. So yeah, we actually have a meeting today at 2 with the team. So I'll go over it and say we did the podcast and whatever. And you know what? Maybe I'll give them access so they can just hear it and
Uh-huh.
then see, you guys want to do this? Let's do it.
Oh my god, that would be so great. I'm so craving the Midwest. Even if we did it online, that'd be great.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, whatever. But
Okay.
I guess we'll chat. And then if you're going to be in the Great Lakes area, then maybe we can align it for that. But if not, then yeah, we'll do it online or whatever.
Okay. That
So
sounds
awesome.
great.
Thanks so much, Kimberly.
Thank you, Scott. Great to see you.
You too. You too. Take care. And again, I
Okay.
hope this helps get you lots of business.
I really appreciate that.
All
Okay.
right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You too.
If you're serious about real estate investing and you want to take it to the next level with the least amount of time and mistakes, then you're going to want to sign up for our Real Estate Investor Hub. Visit CanadianRealEstateNetwork.com and hit the blue button or banner that says Free Investor Resources. Inside, you'll have access to real estate investing courses, networking opportunities, webinars featuring industry professionals, as well as dedicated chat channels to share and get access to unique properties. I look forward to seeing you there.